often talk about what happens in Pakistan with the minorities. Pakistan's treatment of its minorities is terrible, be it atheists, Hindus, Christians, but, and I'll say it, Ahmadis of Pakistan are the worst by far. Or actually, I don't know. It might be a toss between
It's quite,
atheists and
yeah,
Ahmadis.
yeah, no, but I mean,
Ahmadis are probably worse.
the hate for Ahmadi is just consistently always there. Whereas we see peaks and troughs in what's happening with the Christian community or the Hindu community, but the hate
atheists,
for Ahmadis is so real that obviously their passport already differentiates them as non-Muslims. So you can see how ingrained that hate is. They're not allowed to hold certain places of office, that kind of thing. So it's like codified hate.
Yeah, that's codified hate, exactly. So, but it's so codified, it's so formal by the state of Pakistan that it's actually filtered down to even institutes like universities. Have a look at this one. This is a university letter signed by a principal of this university. Now, it's called the Educated School Middle Campus or something. So it's some university in Pakistan. Here, there are 4 students. I think it's a school, so it's not.
Oh my god! I just read the. Oh my goodness!
Yeah, it's terrible English. Yeah, it's terrible.
No! I just read the reason for why they had to leave. But go on, yeah.
So 3 kids, one from year 3, year 6, year 9, year 10. So all walks of life, all ages. 4 kids were kicked out of the school because it was found that they belong to Ahmadi sect of Islam. That's it, Nuria. This kid in the year
straight up, like, you know, it fully. I'm not sure if you like how. I mean, there's no hope like there with this kind of letter that's able to be sent. But if you just immediately think about something as universal, should be universal, sorry, because common sense is not all that common, right? But something like the Equality Act, which straight up says you cannot discriminate on the grounds of race, religion, sex. Religion is there, right? And this is like, you could take them to court and sue them entirely. Like, this is an unfair dismissal or withdrawal or whatever. But like, this is pure discrimination. Like primary discrimination. Yeah.
Imagine a school in London that read as following: the following students who were studying in this institute are being kicked out on the basis of their Islamic religion.
Yeah, it'd be an uproar. The institute, you'd go to court immediately.
The institute is no longer going to provide them with our facilities, education facilities, and these are the names: Muhammad Islam, Muhammad Hijab, Ali Dawa. All these guys are kicked out just purely because of the Islamic faith.
I would argue that they need education more than anyone else. but yeah, a secular one at that, please.
Yeah, but can you believe this? I mean, how could...
That's so disheartening, honestly.
How could the world allow this? I remember the European Parliament, they stood up for one Christian couple, and although they could have stood up for many more, they threatened Pakistan with that we're going to revoke your GSP Plus status. And a week later, 4 weeks later, Pakistan released that couple. They exonerated them from these blasphemy charges. And within 4 weeks, that couple flew to Netherlands. But, you know, this is sheer... It's horrible. Imagine the look on the faces of those kids. Maybe the one in year 3 and year 6 were too young, but the ones who were in years 9 and 10, sorry, we're gonna kick you out. We already beat you people up. We deface your mosques.
Yeah.
But now you can't even study in this school.
Yeah, and on a much like grander point as well, like the fact that, because it's blacked out obviously for privacy, which is understandable. But I don't know the genders of the students. But I mean, in a country like Pakistan already, when education is not really available to everybody, but especially if there's girls in that, within those three, which I'm sure there would be, this could be their only get out clause if they were to land up, because obviously they're going to follow societal traditions there, which are quite the conservative way of finish education after this point, get married, blah, blah. If she happened to be in an abusive relationship of any kind, or the marriage was to irretrievably break down and she doesn't have a right to divorce, all these things, the only thing she could probably clutch onto is her education. And same thing for that, if there's a boy in there, that could be his family's ticket out of poverty and into a more of a middle class lifestyle. But to deprive somebody just because they're minorities, like in Pakistan already, minorities do not have a breathing space. I know that they don't have the resources to leave, but I pity all people of minority that came to Pakistan thinking that it was a safe haven and a refuge for them. Because since its very inception, despite what it was said to be, it has not panned out that way at all. That's not how we see it manifested. It's so scary. I always say Pakistan is literally a country for straight Sunni men. That's it. Like everybody else is unsafe there. But this is, I mean, where do you start with a country like this who is discriminating on these grounds? Like,
and you might also have heard of so the Western audience, those who don't know, Ahmadis is a sect of Islam that originated in India in the late 19th century. Its founder, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Qadiani, claimed to be a prophet, Messiah, etc. And then initially he was rebuked. A lot of people say it's a conspiracy theory. A lot of people say that it was he came out of it was a British conspiracy. He initially he actually started off as an answer to the Christian proselytization, the Christian missionaries. He was very anti-Christianity mission, and then he just probably got drunk on his own supply, high on his own supply, when he thought, oh, hang on, people now listen to me. Okay, let me become a prophet. So I think he died in 1902 or something like that, and then very quickly his influence grew after his death, and a lot of people started following him. And in 1947, Pakistan comes into existence, and a lot of Ahmadis at that time, even though Qadiani, the town where he hailed from, remained in India, but he said, so the Ahmadis at the time, they actually supported the creation of Pakistan. And then the proper discrimination of Ahmadis started in the 60s, and in the 70s, they passed the law. Pakistan Parliament passed the law that if you do not believe in the finality of Muhammad, then you cannot be regarded as Muslims. But Ahmadis insist on being called Muslims. They consider themselves as Muslims. So Pakistan here, and this is what happens when you don't separate religion from your state. This is what happens. Pakistani state says, no, say you're not a Muslim. And they say, no, we're not going to say we're not Muslims. But obviously state always wins. So this narrative has been peddled for nearly 40 years. And as a result, there's open discrimination of these people so explicably. No one can stop them. There are lots of notes at the shop entrances, things like Ahmadis should first enter Islam and then they should enter the shop, or they say Ahmadis and dogs are not allowed in the shop, etc., etc. So these are the kind of this is what happens when you demonize a community. Whether they consider themselves as Muslims or not, who cares? Just like Muslims themselves. Muslims claim that Abraham and Jesus and Moses are the prophet. Imagine if Christians started saying, hey, you want to invent your own religion, go invent your own religion, but don't drag our Jesus into this, okay? Imagine that. Imagine just on that point, all the whole of Christian world started discriminating Muslims for saying that, hey, you've hijacked our Jesus. That's why first you need to abandon this idea that Jesus was also your prophet. Then we'll let you enter our schools, find employment, and blah blah blah. But they don't, because that's such a ridiculous demand from Pakistan that Ahmadis have to call themselves a separate religion. So Ahmadis have built up their religion on top of Islam. It's pretty bad. But I just, the reason why I gave you a little this brief rundown of Ahmadiyya, you might have heard Muslims say that Islam is the fastest growing religion. Yeah, we've all heard of that, haven't we? So
Every day.
But have a look at this one. According to the World Christian Encyclopedia, the Ahmadiyya movement is the fastest growing Islamic group as of the early 21st century. The country with the largest number of population facts, so with an estimated form. So when we look at,
they're also very astute businessmen and very successful, by the way, in their respective diasporas outside of Pakistan.
Well, the further you go away from religion, or the less backward your religion is, the more chances of your success exist. So anyway, so he
But Horace, this is a great point. Sorry, was what you were saying. Tanki just says, great point. Muslims appropriated Abraham as much as Ahmadis appropriated Muhammad.
Yes, exactly. That's a very that's
great
probably more eloquently put. Appropriated. I'm going to use that word.
It's not hard. I'm joking.
It wasn't, but it just didn't come to me. But my thoughts are my own. Okay, so my thoughts are what matter.
Okay, don't throw your thoughts, please.
and sometimes I'm thinking on the spot. So,
obviously, this is all improvised.
Yeah. Okay.
If you like these videos and want to support me in my activism, then you can support me on Patreon or PayPal. Stay free, everyone.